Alright guys, so let's go through the game plans for Node 6 and Node 7. So for Node 6, we're going to abuse speed mechanics, we're going to hold ultimates until Emma is about to take a turn, we're going to take down targets that do damage, not targets that support. Then for Node 7, we're going to use our Charge Storm from Nodes 3 to annihilate the first wave. We're going to take out Maria as soon as we see her, and then we're going to do a cleanup if necessary. Let's now look at the Scourges in use. So just like the other videos in these guides, we're using all the Scourges except the Experimental Serums 1, 2, 3, and Zombification. The reason we're using all these Scourges isn't because you should be using all these Scourges, it's because my teams are big and I want to show how the suggested teams are able to bypass all these Scourges. So here comes node number 6. We're going in with X Factor, X23, and Emma. We're using Polaris, not multiple men. So this node is a sprint, not a marathon. You want to drop multiple enemies as fast as possible, unless it's to permanently kill a target. Use your AoEs over your single targets. And we want to take out the enemies that are going to be the biggest risk to us. That's going to be starting with Star-Lord T'Challa. And remember, you cannot crit if you're blinded. So if you have the Scourge on where when you ultimate you become blind, you do not want to use your ultimates with your team here, because you need to keep hitting, you need to keep critting. We finally open the door up to Star-Lord T'Challa and we start going to town on him. It is around the third turn for the Dad Bros where Emma is going to take over and use her ability. So that's when you can feel free to go ahead and start whiffing some ultimates. ISO choice matters with this team more than any other team, particularly with X23. Although Raider would be nice to get more crits for the X Factor team, because X23 hits often enough, we're risking it for the crits. The Striker ISO will help us kill targets who have that pesky death proof. Once this Merc Lieutenant drops, we're going to have the new wave spawn in, and now it is an absolute sprint. We need to take out Taskmaster before he blinds us. We need to take out Colleen before she does massive amounts of damage. Up until now, there hasn't been many damaging enemies, so we've been able just to sustain our way through, and that's why this team is as powerful as it is. There's so much sustain with the X Factor healing and barrier, and X23 self-healing, and Emma self-healing as well, that you're able to take a few hits and rebalance up. Polaris is unfortunately vulnerable to this. That's why we're only going to use her in this node. But this wave does get absolutely covered in buffs. I don't know if there's a fortifier enemy in here. I actually didn't check, but they get covered. So the Emma ultimate is primed to be used here. Absolutely clear all their buffs. Put you in a great position to get these kill targets down in time. There's that Striker from X23 paying off right there. I see my chance to take out Black Widow and I go for it. Now we've taken out all the damaging characters, we are really no risk of losing at this point. The Hulk just doesn't do as much damage. So make sure you're taking out the support characters just so you're not in here for too long and tempting fate with some bad RNG. One thing I will say is at this point you should definitely be trying to save at least a couple cooldowns. I really like the AoE from Shatterstar Special and the AoE from Longshot Special as well. So if you can carry those into the next wave, that'd be great. If you can get Emma Ultimate up as well, that'd be fantastic. Though you're kind of holding that Ultimate from Emma for so long into this matchup, it's very unlikely. I go ahead and I use the Polaris Ultimate because I have no use for her in the next node. So we don't need her whatsoever. And as you can see, my core 4, that's everybody but Polaris, is very, very healthy. They take very little damage through their self-healing and barrier mechanics. Let's head on over to node number 7. Yes, node number 7. Here we are. So doing just a slight change, we're taking Storm in instead of Polaris. You'll see I've changed like the formation of my team. I don't really think that matters. I kind of like Storm in the middle, just because if she dies after using her ultimate, that's perfectly fine. But the reason we really like Dad Blows with Storm here is because Shatterstar goes first, and he pulls off all those deflects off Captain Sam, so that Storm can completely erase this wave. And you notice I got some pretty bad RNG here. I didn't get a crit from Storm. This is Scourge mode. I could keep resetting over and over and over again until Storm gets the crit on Captain Sam and takes him out, and then my X23 can just go ahead, take all these minions, and we snowball all the harder. But of course, I want to show you guys worst case scenario, so we just we let it ride. And yes, when possible, make sure you're trying to carve through these shield troopers. They're very annoying with their retaliates. And just the damage they do can kind of sneak up on you, to be honest with you. So if we can find a corner where there's only one shield trooper and then one target who we could have access to, take out that shield trooper so you have a safe space to get into. And there you go. Storm also has a nifty assist mechanic. That's what you just saw there, and that helps out quite a bit. See right here, Trooper just absolutely wrecks Storm, but she's really only there to do the ultimate. Once we've cleared that first wave with the really strong, I believe it's Nakia, and maybe even a Black Panther 1 million, the rest of this node becomes a lot easier. Our last obstacle is this Maria Hill. She can be an absolute nightmare. When she starts doing her summons, you can quickly get overwhelmed by troopers, and they're just hitting really hard for some reason, so it's good to get over that. Now you notice I did the basic with Emma when I could have done a cleanse. I could have got that blind up off X23, the ability to block off Shatterstar, but I did the basic on the security. The reason for that is he had immunity, and I know Emma can flip, so she flips the immunity into Disrupt, and now I have full reign. He's not going to start taunting when I'm knocking these shield characters low. We take out the Maria Hill, and at that point, if I had lost and had to come in with a cleanup, it would have been super easy. So make sure you keep in mind the extra mechanics you can play around with. And yes, that's 9 point right there. In truth, after Storm destroys the first wave, we can come back in and clean up from many points on. We still have a charged up Cyclops if you went that route. You still have your full unlimited team. We have so many options still if you have this team available, though I know this team is pretty niche, and we should probably talk about that. So let me pause it here so we can have a little conversation, because I know some people are going to be like, why would you even suggest these teams? The reason I suggest these teams is because this was the only team that can get through both nodes very, very reliably. So it is what it is. But this section of the Scourge event will be the most diverse as to what people use. These 7 characters were simply found to be the most efficient at clearing both nodes. I know not everyone has a big X23 or Dad Bros. I'm a huge Crucible fan, so I had them maxed because they're hero mutants and they're amazing in Crucible, but not everyone had that as a priority. So what can we do to make sure we're giving better information to everybody? Well, I'm definitely going to be streaming this on Twitch, right? So my goal is to find more options for players to choose from. You can see this happen live on Twitch during the course of this event, probably Friday, the day event goes. I will be streaming that night and doing a bunch of testing on this section with you guys live. Because honestly, the people in Twitch and you guys in the comment sections are very often more intelligent than I am and have great ideas that I haven't thought about. Should any teams which are more widely built, like some kind of unlimited hybrid, be found, I will share that info via Discord, YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch, and I'll get that to you guys ASAP, because I know everyone doesn't want to wait till the 10th day to do their Scourge when it's, I think that's Christmas Day. You want to get it done sooner. So that is my pledge to you guys. If there's a better team and I stumble across it, I will make sure to share it. But as of right now, X Factor with Emma, X23, Storm, and Polaris can definitely get you through these nodes very comfortably if you have them built up. The next section is going to be legendary.